Hey, it's Tim. Welcome to Focus Friday. So today I want to talk about what the heck is going on with ad platforms. There has been a huge hullabaloo about privacy. As you might know, Apple and Facebook are fighting about tracking. And Google just recently announced that they were no longer going to be use individual behavioral targeting to build profiles, and they're not going to build a cookie equivalent system using emails. So it seems like there's all sorts of privacy all over the place now. And understandably, agency owners are thinking, oh my goodness, we are not going to have all the data we need to run great campaigns. We are not going to have all of the profiles that we can do deep retargeting and all that sort of stuff. Listen, whew, take a deep breath, okay? Because these changes don't actually impact you in the way that you think that they do. Now, there might be some extra hoops that you need to go through, and there's might be some server-side first-party tracking that you can do. But fundamentally, the ad platforms, Facebook and Google, have a ton of information about users and visitors and traffic. And so they would not be sitting down taking taking a privacy high road. Now, I must say, I don't think Facebook is doing that. There's more Apple's doing. But in the instance of Google, if Google did not have a great solution in its back pocket, it would not have taken this seemingly pro-privacy step. So the targeting engines that are outside of your view, so the things in the black boxes at the ad platforms, are going to be the same. Now, what is likely to happen is they're going to deprecate the choices that you can make on the front end. And that, by the way, is fine. Because, and this is really important, number one, those companies will do nothing to get in the way of you spending your clients' money with them. So they will not allow ad performance to deprecate at all, right? So like they are on it, because it's not your business that's at risk, it's theirs, right? And Google isn't going to intentionally shoot itself in the foot by throwing away behavioral targeting if they didn't have a replacement. So like the onus is off of you. But the other thing is this change actually impacts all agencies the same. So it's not like some agencies will have higher resolution via the old way versus other agencies can only see deprecated information the new way. That's not going to happen. And so, there might be some short-term hiccups and changes that you need to make in the way that you execute, but you are not going to be at a disadvantage, and your customers will not say, oh, don't spend there, because quite honestly, if it worked yesterday, it's probably going to work tomorrow. So you can take a deep breath. However, let me throw this out at you. Privacy changes where all of the data that is known about visitors is increasingly trapped inside of platforms, primarily Facebook, Google, and increasingly Amazon. So that leaves you as the advertising partner, as the marketer, that leaves you at the whim of those platforms. As we've just seen, they can change stuff that might feel like they're throwing your world into disarray, but that's not the truth. But in the great Stoic philosophy of understanding what is in your control and what's not in your control, let's think about data that you can access and data that you can't. Rich behavioral data based on off-site, off of the properties that you manage, all of that data belongs to somebody else. Whether or not they should have it or not, that doesn't matter, but that belongs to somebody else. So what is the data that you really have access to? The data that you can count on and the data that you can work with. It's first party data. And so far, for most agencies, most performance agencies, the paradigm has been agency, you go handle the advertising end of it. We'll take the collection of money and the product fulfillment, and everybody's groovy. And things kept on getting better because of the increased amount of data that everyone had about everyone. Now, if you as an agency don't have quite as much visibility into the data that is behind the platform curtain, what can you do? You can get really smart and you can start to work with your clients and maybe track their purchases all the way through their CRM. So not only are you going to see add to conversion, maybe you could see add to conversion to, is this customer a new customer or an existing customer? Is this customer a high value, high frequency purchase customer, or is it a one-time purchase customer? And that's the kind of information, quite honestly, that your clients have, but they don't know how to use it. And so the mandate that comes from these changes around Facebook and Google isn't that the platforms are messing with your business. It's just that that's never been your data. And what you need to do is you need to create a tighter relationship with your client so they can share their data that belongs to them with you so you can work together more closely. And that's it. So in some respects, I really think that increased volatility and changes of the availability of data on the platform side, awesome. Let that roll off your back. Focus on what you can control and create a great, meaningful, tight relationship with your client so that you are able to fully express not only the value that you're bringing, but the value available for you to bring to your client. And guess what? If you are a partner that is handling offsite creative, offsite messaging, offsite presentation, and you are injecting information and pulling information out of the CRM to make those opportunities better, well, don't you think it's going to be harder for them to extract you from the equation if you are not only keeping track of what's happening off the site, but you're also engaged with what's happening on the back end? That's Focus Friday. Think about what you can control and leverage that to your advantage. Have a great weekend.